This is the video of the cases from, I think, the 6th of August 2013 on the blog. This was case 1. Man with a pigmented lesion on his upper back. He came in for something else and we just noted this and examining him. All these scars, I'd have to hasten to add, are not my work. He has had various lesions removed before, including 2 melanomas. You can see the extent of the sun damage. If you have a close look at the lesion, you can see the varying pigmentation within it, a lighter colored area here, darker colored area inferiorly. And when you look at the dermatoscopy, this certainly looks like the classic blue-grey veil that they talk about. You can see a network around the outside here, little bit of streaking, some gray dots, some brown dots I should say, here as well. So we decided to shave this lesion, and I'll show you the picture live on this. Now, this is one of the views of the histopathology. What you're seeing here are nests, but the nests are joining up. There's bridging of the nests in this area. You can see there's quite an atypical area here. There's a nest here, all at the in these rete ridges that are coming down. This blue structure here is solarelastosis. May even be a little bit of fibrosis here as well. That pinkish discoloration that you're in fact seeing is a little bit of thickened collagen here, but it is in the back, and so you tend to have a thicker dermis there anyway. Let's just have a closer look at some of those areas. Now you can see the varying size and shape of the nest. They're made up of atypical melanocytes. Not a lot of lentiginous spread at that view in between. Then it seems to peter out there. So just looking at this, with this bridging in these atypical melanocytes, it certainly would be a very dysplastic nevus, a severe dysplastic nevus if you were reporting that. You can see some little drops of melanin melanophages here in the dermis, not much more of an inflammatory reaction occurring there. Now if we go down, I just want to go down to another cut. Let me just take you to the next cut below this, and let's look at the picture there. And you'll see it's much more dramatic. You've got a lot more of your dermal melanin melanophages here. Here are your nests at the in the rete ridges here. And if we work our way, not so much of the bridging we saw before, it's a bit there. We work our way along here, a lot more. See, this is what will give you that grey-blue color. This is melanin in the dermis, so it's going to give you a lot of that grey-blue color. Over there, you've got some basket weave keratin. You've got some orthokeratosis. Now, what else have you got? Here's a little feature here. See, there's pigment in that's been extruded in the surface of the stratum corneum. That would make it look very black because your pigment cells are up high here. These presumably have been pigmenting melanocytes that have been extruded here. We're going out towards the periphery, and of course it's getting less and less atypical as you go towards the periphery of this. Let's go back though towards the central area. See this extruded melanin there as well. We'll work our way just a little bit further along here. What are these cells here? Are these lymphocytes, or are these nevus cells? Let's just go in and have a slightly closer look at that. Oops. Okay. Well, I'm still not 100% sure here. We'll just go along at this level. These look much more like nevus cells, but they don't look as atypical as the melanocytes that were up there. Looks like nevus cells there too. So was there partly a dermal component to this nevus at some stage before the melanoma developed? Same with this little picture here. Again, all that melanin and melanophages. And if we just go up here, you can see, how atypical the melanocytes are here. Is there any upward spread that we can see? Just work our way along here a little bit more. By the way, this is a hair follicle, and you've got some spread of this down the infundibulum of the hair follicle here as well. Some atypical melanocytes along here too. These, by the way, are just keratinocytes. These aren't melanocytes. What else? We see much more along here. Oh yeah, look, there's a bit of lentiginous spread of melanocytes just along the individual or perhaps very small nests there along the dermoepidermal junction. So that's lentiginous spread. So it's an in situ melanoma, level 1. This has been presumably because of irritation here and melanin's dropped down into melanophages, rather than because there's been immune attack and regression within a deeper dermal component that's been removed. Again, you can see how much melanin there is here. I mean, that's why you've got that blue-gray color, all of that melanin melanophages in the dermis. So, essentially, level 1 melanoma, I think there has been a little bit of regression here. The pathologist reported it as occurring in a dysplastic nevus, presumably because of the picture I showed you before with that bridging of nevi in the previous view. He didn't think there was an invasive component in this, and we've organized to bring the patient back and excise it with, I think I probably will put 10 millimeter margins on this just to be safe anyway. So that was case 1. Let's go back to case 2. Now case 2 was our lady with this lesion on her eyelid. And when you look at this, let's see if I can, I don't think I did, let me make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. You can see here it appears to have a little central crater, and there's a raised rim here. Now, it would be reasonable to diagnose that as a basal cell skin cancer, thinking that was the sort of pearly edge to the BCC. You might have also thought it was a big area of sebaceous hyperplasia, because it can have a little dell in the center as well. But let's look at the dermatoscopy. We'll need to make that smaller. Let's just bring it down. There we go. There's the lesion there. Here you can see, and I haven't touched this up in any way, you can see sort of yellowish material here that might make you think that's sebaceous material around the outside. Some vessels, I think we used to call them crown vessels, coming in, not crossing the center. Then there's a central area here with these big clod-like lesions. And what this is it's a giant molluscum contagiosum. Now, I didn't excise this. All you need to do with these is take a needle, open it, and just extrude the contents, and the thing will, the viral sac will dry out and it will just fall off within 2 or 3 days. So I didn't take that off. Let me just show you the picture of what mollusca histopathology looks like. Here's a picture here, involution of the downward spread of the epidermis, and then molluscum bodies form in the basal there here. The molluscum bodies are pox virus in keratinocytes, and they gradually adopt or fill a greater and greater area of the keratinocytes as they come up, and then they get extruded into that central crater area. Let's just have a closer look here. Here you go. There's the molluscum bodies early in the keratinocytes, and as they proliferate they become this eosinophilic material that fills the whole of the keratinocyte, and then as you get through the stratum granulosum here, they're extruded into this area. I think we've got a couple of other close-ups. There you go. All of that is the pox virus in the keratinocyte. Stratum granulosum here, and then extruded into that central crater that we saw. And all of this pink eosinophilic material are molluscum bodies, molluscum virus. So that's the histology molluscum contagiosum. Now, sometimes, you could see in there were no lymphocytes or anything else attacking this. If you get an inflammatory reaction or immune reaction occurring here, as with the Halo nevus, you get lymphocytes invading all of this, mounting an immune reaction to it. And sometimes the lymphocytic infiltrate can be quite marked. I can remember a case once that was even misdiagnosed as lymphomatoid papulosis, a CD30 cellular infiltrate. And someone thought it was a lesion that can develop into lymphoma. But anyway, this was all molluscum contagiosum poxvirus. So let's go to case 3. There was the clinical of case 3, pigmented lesion on the dorsum of a wrist. Not all that well defined, perhaps a little bit of scale on the surface here, some pigment, looked like pigment globules. First blush you might have thought that it was a pigmented BCC. But then when you put the dermatoscope on it, we'll bring that down a bit, then you see this lesion here. And what you see are all these brown dots, and a lot of the dots are in lines. There's no real network to be seen at all. A lot of dots there, not quite as with the same linear propensity as we have here. So, as Alan Cameron would say, a lay down misère for a pigmented IEC. So let's try and show you the histology of the IEC. I've just got to, I'll put up the picture here, make that a bit smaller so you can look at it. And I'll just go and get the proper image up on the microscope, and we'll have a chance to look at it live. Get the other one down. And we should have that, I think, online. Just bear with me. I'll flick into the other view. Bring that in and see if we can get it up for you. There we go. Now, just at this level here, I'll get it focused a little bit better. Okay. You can see there's an increase in pigmentation. Now that pigmentation is melanin and keratinocytes here, but that's what's, you see the increased pigmentation along here? That's what's giving you the pigmented areas in this when you're looking at it. There's acanthosis there, and if we look down on this, we'll see that there's full thickness atypia here. Overlying this is parakeratosis, thickened keratin with some retention of nuclei within it here. We'll go along just to the end of this and see what else we can see. There's some more marked areas, the thickening there, the marked area of parakeratosis. That's part of the scale that you can see. Not quite as pigmented at the base in this bit, which would fit with the lesion itself being variably pigmented. Bit of an inflammatory infiltrate here. A lot of these, because it's malignancy, of course, the immune system's reacting to it, so you'll get lymphocytes and the like. Let's just go in and have a little look at the nature of the cells there, and the degree of atypia that we'll see. So if we pop along, you can see there that pigmentation. These aren't melanocytes. This is increased pigment in keratinocytes in that basal layer. But it's what gives you this as a pigmented. Of course, that comes out as a dot a little bit when you're looking at it with the dermatoscope. You can see the degree of atypia here, and it's essentially full thickness atypia as well, right up to the top here. Pinkish cell that you see is an apoptotic cell. When cells die, they look pink like that. If we were to look in here very carefully, we'd probably be able to see some mitoses, but I'd need to put that at high power, and I'm not the world's best at diagnosing that. Again, you can see some extruded keratinocytes here with pigment in the surface of that stratum corneum. So full thickness atypia, if you were to look down, there would be mitoses, areas of pigmentation, increased melanin in keratinocytes, particularly at the basal level here, some apoptotic cells, parakeratosis. So it all fits for a pigmented IEC. Thanks very much. Oh, sorry, I forgot something. If you've enjoyed this histopathology, remember we've got the conference coming up in November, and we hope to give you presentations like this and go into all of these conditions in much more detail. And there'll be interactive ones between Clay Cockrell, who's a dermatopathologist from Texas in the USA, from Houston, from Dallas, I should say, in Texas, who will be coming over, and we'll have local presenters, including myself, Rob Panizzi, Cliff Rosendahl, Jeff Keir, and John Pine, all talking about the clinical and dermatoscopic views, with Clay giving his expertise on the histopathology. And we're looking for a lot of gems as well. Gems are small, short, 5-minute cases, just like a short presentation like this, where you perhaps have a clinical dermatoscopic view and just 2 or 3 histological slides that you can put up, something you can present within 5 minutes that has an interesting variation or a very good example of a rarer thing that we can in fact have a panel, have a quick 5-minute talk about as well. So I urge you to come along to that. It will be a great teaching exercise. It's only a Saturday and a Sunday morning. And if you're going to present a gem, the Australian Institute of Dermatology will give you a book, either Dirk Elston's Dermpath book or Dr. Kempf's Dermatopathology book, both of which are excellent textbooks for skin cancer histopathology. Give it a good thought. Thanks very much.